Venerable Mahasangha and clergy of other religions, Vice Chancellor, Deans of Faculties, members of the University Council and Senate, members of the academic, administrative and non-academic staff, invitees, parents, well-wishers and graduates. And Emeritus Professor Vinay Vitharana, I consider it a great honor to be invited to deliver the convocation address of the Faculty of Graduate Studies. I thank the Vice Chancellor, the Dean and the Faculty Board of the Faculty of Graduate Studies for this honor. It is indeed a pleasure to return to this university in which I spent the last 14 years of an academic and professional career of nearly 42 years. I considered this the most productive part of my career and the part in which I came into contact with a much broader cross-section of the academia than I had done before. It was my good fortune that I had the opportunity to be associated with this seat of learning, which in spite of its tumultuous history has made an indelible imprint on our national identity and character. The Faculty of Graduate Studies, though relatively young, has contributed immensely to its postgraduate programs and research. And having organized an academically impeccable 50th anniversary research conference, it has progressed in the recent past both in its infrastructure and in the content and quality of its programs. I'm happy to note the establishment of a multidisciplinary board of study. I was pleasantly surprised at the high quality of both participation and discussion at the recently conducted symposium on chronic kidney disease of unknown etiology in the North Central Province. To me, it epitomized the intellectual discourse sans boundaries that we expect from a faculty of this nature. As diplomats and graduates of this faculty, I consider you to be a relatively elite group, even in the present Sri Lankan context, cluttered with convocations of numerous state and private higher educational institutions. I wish you well in your future academic and professional career. I hope that you have acquired mastery not only of your subject, but of yourself in order to guide your destiny as a productive member of this knowledge-based society. This afternoon, I will be speaking on a question which has interested me as a pediatrician and a teacher for quite some time. Is cognitive ability or intelligence inherited or acquired? During the next 20 minutes or so, I will take you through the history of this debate and conclude with what appears to be the current consensus. Cognition is defined as the mental act or process by which knowledge is acquired, including perception, intuition, reasoning, and reasoning. Intelligence is defined as the capacity for understanding, ability to perceive and comprehend meaning. In my address, I will be focusing on general cognitive ability and will treat it as synonymous with intelligence. It was Francis Galton, a British polymath and a cousin of Charles Darwin, who initiated the controversy on the relative role of nature or heredity and nurture or environment in determining human ability and behavior. In an article in Macmillan's magazine published in 1865 entitled Hereditary Talent and Character, and in an expanded discussion published 4 years later under the title Hereditary Genius, an inquiry into its laws and consequences, he demonstrated that a greater number of able individuals is found among relatives of persons endowed with high mental ability than would be expected by chance. The chart showing these 100 men and their relatives is in your book. He also showed that closer the relationship, higher was the incidence of superior individuals. On the basis of this data, Galton concluded that nature or heredity prevails enormously over nurture or environment in determining human ability and genius. In retrospect, it is clear that Galton overstated his case and that his conclusion was not really warranted on the basis of the data he presented. Searching for a method to disentangle the two sources of influence, he introduced both twin and adoption studies. Galton was the first to attempt measuring of intelligence. He also described the method of correlation, a variance of which still underlie most twin research. Galton can thus be considered the founder of quantitative behavioral genetics. The view of intelligence